next time you walk into a big box store or, just your local grocery shop, I really want you to look closely at a single shelf.
Yeah, just pick one random shelf.
Exactly, just pick one. Because honestly, every square inch of that metal rack is some of the most cutthroat, heavily contested, and just wildly expensive real estate in the world.
It really is. It's prime real estate.
Right. I mean, brands literally bleed money, time, and sweat just to get a couple of inches of that shelf space. We see thousands of products every day, and it kind of feels like they just magically appear there for a convenience.
Like someone just waved a wand.
Exactly. But today's mission for our deep dive is to completely demystify that illusion for you. We are finding out how products actually survive the gauntlet to make it onto those shelves.
And it really is a gauntlet. I mean, the average shopper assumes the best products just naturally rise to the top and find their way to the store.
Like a meritocracy.
Right. But for product manufacturers and brand founders, innovation is, well, it's only about 10% of the battle.
Just 10%.
Yeah, if that. The rest is this highly calculated, often grueling marathon of logistics, psychology, and math. There's no magic involved, just pure strategy.
And to guide us through this ecosystem today, we are pulling from a really comprehensive source. It's a step-by-step framework created by Retailbound.
Oh, yeah, they know their stuff.
They really do. It's a channel management consultancy founded by Johann Jacob, and they've been in the trenches since 2008. They've helped brands launch and scale across over 150 major retailers throughout the U.S. and Canada.
Which is a massive footprint, by the way.
Massive. So we're getting a look at the actual playbook these consultants use to bridge that huge gap between, having a great idea in your garage and actually securing a physical spot on a major retail shelf.
And what stands out about Retailbound's approach is that it forces founders to abandon the fantasy of a single cinematic transaction.
Like the classic Shark Tank moment.
Yes, exactly. Where you walk in, hand over a product, pitch for 5 minutes, and a buyer hands you a giant check. That just doesn't happen.
Right.
Instead, we are looking at a holistic, sprawling journey. I mean, from your very first moments of market reconnaissance to the incredibly complex partnerships that keep a brand alive way after the sale is actually made.
Okay, let's unpack this, because as I was digging into their methodology, a very specific analogy started forming in my head.
Oh, let's hear it.
Getting onto a retail shelf feels almost exactly like trying to get into an incredibly exclusive VIP club in a major city.
Oh, that's good.
Right. You don't just confidently strut up to the front door, point to yourself, and expect them to drop the velvet rope.
No, you definitely don't.
You have to know who the bouncer is, you have to understand the hyper-specific dress code for that particular club, and most importantly, you have to prove that your presence is going to attract other people and add value to the party.
That analogy holds up surprisingly well throughout the entire process, actually. Because before you can even attempt to talk to the bouncer, you need to know what kind of club you're actually trying to enter.
The dress code phase.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you show up to a gritty punk rock venue wearing a custom-tailored tuxedo, you're going to get turned away.
You look ridiculous.
Right. And it doesn't matter how expensive or beautiful the tuxedo is. It fundamentally does not belong in that ecosystem.
Okay, let's make this tangible for the listener. Let's invent a dummy product to track through this whole deep dive.
Sounds fun. What are we selling?
Say I've invented a revolutionary new dog leash.
Okay, dog leash.
But it's not just a leash. It's got a built-in GPS, it glows in the dark, and it automatically dispenses little treats. It's incredible. I've got a working prototype. All my friends love it. Am I ready to just start blasting emails to the CEO of Petco?
Please don't do that. The CEO is definitely not the bouncer in your club analogy.
They aren't.
No, the ultimate gatekeeper in this scenario is the retail buyer.
The retail buyer. Okay.
Yeah, this is a person whose entire professional existence revolves around standing at the door of a specific product category and saying yes or no.
So they are the literal bouncer.
Exactly. But they aren't evaluating your GPS dog leash based on whether it's a quote-unquote cool invention. Their job is incredibly high stakes, and their mindset is almost entirely rooted in risk aversion.
Wait, so if I have an objectively amazing, highly innovative product, you're telling me the buyer might pass just because they are afraid of taking a risk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shouldn't they want the coolest new thing for their store?
What's fascinating here is that innovation is great, but physical retail real estate is finite.
Meaning they only have so many shelves.
Right. Every square foot of a store has a specific dollar amount attached to it. A buyer's primary metric for success is profit per square foot.
Oh, so it's a math equation for them.
It is entirely a math equation.
Yeah.
If they take down a proven, boring, but consistent seller like, say, a standard $10 nylon dog leash, and they replace it with your high-tech GPS leash, and yours doesn't sell,
And then it just sits there.
it just sits there gathering dust. And that isn't just a missed opportunity for the store. You are actively losing them money every single day because that physical space could have been generating cash with the boring leash. They are absolutely terrified of dead inventory.
So the buyer isn't a curator of cool things. They are basically a risk manager protecting their turf.
Precisely. And this is why the reconnaissance phase is so critical. You have to do the legwork to understand where your specific product fits before you ever even make contact.
So I have to research the club before I show up.
Right. Going back to your leash, if it retails for, let's say, $150 because of the GPS technology, pitching it to a discount dollar store is a fundamental misunderstanding of the retailer's demographics.
Yeah, nobody is buying a $150 leash at a dollar store.
Exactly. You are wasting the buyer's time, and you're showing them you haven't done your homework at all. You need to target stores that already carry similar premium pet accessories, analyze their price points, and even consider the physical size of their stores.
Okay, so I do my recon. I find a mid-tier to premium pet store chain. They sell higher-end gear, the demographic matches perfectly. I know who the bouncer is, and I know I'm at the right club.
Good. Step one complete.
Now I have to prove I belong. And this brings up something in the Retailbound framework that I think completely trips up first-time founders,
The math.
the underlying math.
Yeah.
How does the spreadsheet actually have to work for a buyer to even look at my leash without laughing me out of the room?
Yeah, this is where a lot of dreams die, honestly. Let's walk through the actual math of retail margins, because it's brutal.
Walk me through it.
So most founders calculate the cost to manufacture their product, and then they pick a retail price that gives them a nice, comfortable profit.
Makes sense.
So let's say your GPS leash costs you $20 to manufacture in a factory overseas. You decide you want to sell it for $40. You think, great, I'm doubling my money.
It seems like a solid, basic business plan. Buy for 20, sell for 40. I'm rich.
It is a solid plan if you are selling directly to the consumer out of the trunk of your car. Right.
Right.
But the moment you introduce a retailer, that math completely collapses. Because the retailer needs to make a substantial profit too, usually around 50%, sometimes even more depending on the category.
Wait, 50%?
Yep. So if the retail price on the shelf is $40, the retailer expects to buy it from you for $20.
But wait, it cost me $20 just to make it.
Exactly. So if you sell it to the retailer for $20, you make absolutely zero profit.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I would have to sell it to the retailer for $30, so I at least make $10 of profit.
Sure.
But if the retailer buys it for $30, they are going to want to sell it for $60 on the shelf to make their own margin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now you have to ask yourself, will a consumer actually pay $60 for this leash? Or are you now priced completely out of the market compared to your competitors?
Because at $60, it might be the most expensive thing in the store.
Right. If you can't leave enough margin for both your wholesale markup and the retailer's markup without the final price becoming ridiculous, the buyer will pass immediately.
They won't even negotiate.
Rarely. The math has to work for everyone in the chain or the conversation's just over before it begins.
That is brutal. So a highly mediocre product with fantastic margins could easily beat my innovative leash if my manufacturing costs are just too high.
It happens every single day.
Okay, so assuming I fix my supply chain, I get the manufacturing cost down to $10, I sell it wholesale to the store for $20, they sell it retail for $40. Everyone is making a healthy margin. The spreadsheet is finally happy.
Perfect.
But I can't just hand the buyer a loose leash in a plastic grocery bag, right? Let's talk about the physical presentation, because Retailbound leans heavily into this idea of being quote-unquote retail ready.
The phrase retail ready cannot be overstated. A buyer doesn't want to see a 3D printed prototype in a plain brown cardboard box with a printed sticker slapped on it.
Even if the product inside is amazing?
Doesn't matter. They need to see exactly what the consumer will see on the shelf. Your packaging is your product's only voice. When a customer walks down the aisle, you aren't going to be standing there explaining how the treat dispenser works.
Sadly, no.
The box has to do all the heavy lifting instantly.
And it's not just about looking pretty, right? I mean, there is a whole operational side to the packaging that I completely took for granted before reading this source. The framework mentions things like universal product codes or UPCs.
Yes, the barcodes.
Right. So if my gorgeous packaging doesn't have a UPC barcode printed on it, what happens?
The retailer's entire automated inventory and checkout system breaks down. They literally cannot process your product.
Wow.
Yeah, a cashier can't scan it, the warehouse can't track it, the reorder system has no idea when it's out of stock. It's a total non-starter. You also need compliant safety information, clear instructions, and packaging that actually protects the product from getting crushed on a wooden pallet during shipping.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if I have this beautiful, innovative dog leash and the margins are perfect, but I show up with non-compliant packaging and no barcode, it is essentially like building a gorgeous sports car but forgetting to install an engine.
It's a great way to put it.
It looks fantastic in photos, but it is fundamentally useless to the retailer because it literally cannot function within their physical machinery.
That is a perfect visualization. The visual appeal and the operational compliance of the packaging are directly connected to the financial viability.
How so?
Well, if the box gets crushed in transit, it's unsellable if it's dead inventory. If it lacks a barcode, it can't be sold dead inventory. If it fails to communicate the GPS feature instantly to a passing shopper, it doesn't sell dead inventory.
Okay, so let's say I've survived the gauntlet so far. The leash is amazing, the margins are perfect, the packaging is a retail-ready fortress with a shiny new barcode. I am finally standing in front of the bouncer.
The buyer meeting.
Yes, I have the meeting with the buyer. I assume I just slide the leash across the table, show them the spreadsheet, and wait for them to throw a purchase order at me.
I mean, if you want to be politely escorted out of the building, sure.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if you want to make a deal, you have to realize that this is where a massive psychological pivot has to happen. You aren't actually trying to convince the buyer to buy your product.
Let me stop you right there because that sounds completely contradictory. I am literally in the room to get them to buy it.
You are there to get them to stock it.
Yeah.
But the pitch is about proving to the buyer that their customers will buy the product.
Oh, I see.
Every retailer has a totally different core customer. A pitch to a high-end boutique pet store is going to focus on the premium materials, the exclusivity of the GPS tech, the aesthetic design.
Because that's what their shoppers care about.
Right. But if you take that exact same pitch to a massive bulk warehouse club, they will stare at you blankly. Because a bulk warehouse buyer cares about unit volume, durability, and family size value. If you don't customize the pitch to reflect their specific shopper, you are showing the buyer you don't understand their business.
That brings up a concept in the source material that genuinely blew my mind. It's the difference between sell-in and sell-through. Can you explain those terms for us? Because it completely changed how I view the whole retail industry.
Absolutely. So sell-in is what you were doing in that meeting. It is the act of selling your inventory to the retailer. You were just getting the boxes onto their loading dock.
Okay.
Most novice founders think that is the finish line. We got the order, we're done.
Yeah.
But the seasoned pros know that the only thing that actually matters is sell-through.
And sell-through is?
Sell-through is the product actually moving from the retailer's shelf into the hands of a human being who takes it home.
And Retailbound says that before you even approach buyers for the sell-in, you need a full marketing plan. High-res photos, social media content, demo videos, maybe even influencer campaigns.
Yes, you need all of that.
But wait, if I have to build a massive audience and do all the marketing myself, why do I even need the retailer? Why not just sell direct to consumer on my own website and keep all the profit?
It's a fair question, and honestly, many brands do start direct to consumer for that exact reason. But physical retail offers scale and velocity that the internet often struggles to match efficiently.
The foot traffic.
Exactly. When you get into a major chain, you are suddenly placed in front of millions of eyeballs who are already in a buying mood. You are piggybacking on the retailer's massive infrastructure, their shipping logistics, their real estate.
Look, okay, so I need them for the sheer scale.
Right, but they need you to bring the heat. When you pitch a buyer, you are essentially selling them a pre-packaged marketing campaign.
A pre-packaged campaign.
Yes, you are saying, look at my social media following. Look at this targeted ad campaign I'm running in the zip codes where your stores are located. Look at these pet influencers talking about the leash.
So I'm basically doing their job for them.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you are telling the buyer, I am not just dumping plastic on your shelf and hoping for the best. I am giving you a guarantee of foot traffic.
Wow. I'm giving you a guarantee of foot traffic.
That is such a profound shift in perspective. When I see a product on an end cap display now, I realize it's not just sitting there waiting to be discovered.
Definitely not.
There is this invisible web of marketing energy actively pulling people into the store just to find it.
And if you don't have that invisible web, the buyer knows the product will likely fail because they aren't going to spend their own money to market your unknown dog leash. That burden is entirely on you.
All right, so I showed them the web. I proved the sell-through. The buyers are convinced. I got the yes. I am officially inside the VIP club. We are celebrating, popping champagne. But according to this framework, getting that initial purchase order isn't the finish line either.
Not even close.
It's basically just the starting gun for the real work.
Yeah, getting onto the shelf is hard. Staying on the shelf is a daily battle. And it starts with relationships, right? Even if you get a no from a buyer, it's not a permanent ban from the club.
Never take a no personally in this business. A buyer might reject you because they have a category freeze, meaning corporate has literally locked their budget for pet accessories for the next 6 months.
So their hands are tied.
Exactly. Or they might be locked into a multi-year contract with a direct competitor. But if you handle that rejection professionally, attend industry trade shows, respectfully check in on LinkedIn, and provide value over time, you stay on their radar.
So you're playing the long game.
Always. When that category freeze lifts, or when a competitor's product suddenly stops selling, you want to be the very first phone call they make to fill that empty hole on the shelf.
Let's talk about what happens when you are actually in the store. Step 8 of this methodology focuses on providing support and training to the retailer. You have to offer usage instructions, staff training, merchandising suggestions.
It's crucial.
To bring this back to the listener, when you go to a Best Buy or an electronics store to buy a TV, and the floor associate strongly steers you toward one specific brand over another.
Yeah, we've all experienced that.
That isn't random, is it?
Not at all. That is step 8 in action. That specific TV brand invested time and money into educating the floor staff. They might have sent representatives to the store to give the employees a hands-on demo.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They provided easy-to-read cheat sheets on why their contrast ratio is better than the TV sitting right next to it.
So what does this all mean? By training the retail staff, I am essentially weaponizing the store's own employees to be a personal hype squad for my dog leash.
Exactly. Retail associates have to keep track of thousands of products.
Yeah.
If you make their life easier by explaining exactly how to sell your product, they will default to recommending yours, simply because they understand it better.
It's just the path of least resistance for them.
Right. It reduces their friction. But again, that requires you to invest your own resources into their education.
And to keep that momentum going, you have to maintain consistent communication with the corporate buyer, sharing sell-through reports, updating them on new product lines, constantly checking inventory, because if out of sight is out of mind, what actually happens if a store runs out of my dog leashes?
Well, if you aren't monitoring inventory and the shelf goes empty, the store manager isn't going to just leave a blank space there.
Because empty space loses money.
Exactly. They will just slide the competitor's nylon leashes over to fill the gap. And just like that, you've lost your hard-won real estate. Consistent communication ensures your supply chain is tight and your product remains a priority.
The final piece of the puzzle here is offering promotions and retailer-specific incentives. The framework talks about things like bundle deals or retailer-exclusive SKUs.
SKUs are very important.
Right, and for those who might not know, a SKU is a stock-keeping unit, basically the specific barcode and identifier for a distinct product. But why would I want to make an exclusive SKU just for one single retailer? Doesn't that limit my overall sales?
It might limit that specific item, sure, but it solidifies the overarching partnership.
How so?
Well, let's say you offer Target an exclusive neon pink version of your GPS dog leash that they cannot get anywhere else. What you are doing is giving Target's customers a concrete reason to choose their store over Walmart or PetSmart.
Oh, I see.
You are actively helping the retailer win their own competitive battles.
I'm proving my commitment to their specific success. I'm basically making the bouncer look like a genius for letting me into the club.
Precisely. This raises an important question about how many brands fail simply because they treat selling to retail as a one-time transaction.
Instead of a partnership.
Right. You are looking the buyer in the eye and saying, we're in this together. If you win, I win. When a brand adopts that mentality, they stop being just another vendor and start becoming a true partner.
This has been a deeply fascinating journey. When we started, a product sitting on a shelf just looked like a normal, boring part of everyday life.
Most people don't give it a second thought.
They really don't. But now, looking through the lens of Retailbound's framework, it's impossible not to see the sheer magnitude of strategy required to make that happen. We've traced the path from identifying the right bouncer and the right club to doing the brutal, unforgiving math of margins.
Mass is everything.
We've seen how a cardboard box is actually a highly functional, retail-ready machine. We've completely unlearned the idea of the pitch, realizing it's actually a promise of sell-through driven by your own marketing footprint.
Your invisible web.
Yes, the web. And we've explored how getting that first check is really just the beginning of a long-term, highly communicative partnership where you train the staff and offer exclusive deals just to protect your turf. It demands a complete shift from a selfish mentality to a mindset of continuous support.
It really is a massive paradigm shift. And, building on that, I want to leave you with the concept to mull over as you go about your week. We spent a lot of time today dissecting sell-through, the idea that success isn't just about convincing the gatekeeper to say yes to you, but actually empowering that gatekeeper to easily sell your product to someone else down the line.
Giving them the tools to do the heavy lifting for you.
Right. So I want you to think about how you might apply that exact sell-through mindset to your own daily life.
Oh, I like where this is going.
How might this change the way you pick your own ideas, your creative projects, or even your professional skills? When you ask for a promotion, or when you pitch a bold new initiative to a client, are you just trying to force a raw yes out of them based on your own brilliance?
Which is the sell-in mentality.
Exactly. Or are you actively equipping them with the arguments, the data, and the prepackaged sell-through they need to turn around and champion your idea to their boss or to the rest of the company?
That is a phenomenal takeaway. Are you just trying to talk your way past the bouncer, or are you making sure the bouncer has absolutely everything they need to justify why you belong at the party? Next time you walk down a retail aisle, I hope you look at those shelves a little differently. Every single item you see is a survivor that mastered the math, nailed the presentation, and proved it belonged. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.